Hi, Dr. Paul Haider here. Today is Easter, and happy Easter, everybody. And we have to remember that we embody that Christ consciousness within. And it's time for us to resurrect that still small voice that tells us what is our path to follow. And we have so many things that we could choose to heal in this world if we listen to that still small voice. We have over 30 wars going on right now, and this is no different than what they had during the early part of the 1900s. We had the great change that happened with World War I, and millions of people died in World War I. But just before that, they had a great, economy, and things were going good, and in general, people had lots of food, and life was pretty pleasant at that point. There wasn't too much strife of any kind. People were generally happy. But then World War II came along. And of course, the generals kept pushing people. We need more people out there on the trenches, when it was trench warfare. And it lasted for years. Millions and millions of Belgians died, French died, Italians died, Germans died, the Russians died, and the English died, and finally we got into it, and more people died. But eventually, at one point, because it was dragging on for so long, people just stopped. They said no more. And the guys in the trenches said, that's it for us. And the Russians got up and left, and some of the Germans left, and some of the French left, and it was pretty crazy. But it was, in reality, a good thing. A lot of people also back home were making munitions, and it was dangerous, and a lot of the women were working at that. People were dying because there were no standards of, working conditions. And then they said no more. And because of that, things changed. Now we have the capability of doing the same thing. We could say, all stand up and say no more. We don't want to tolerate any more wars in this world. We don't want to tolerate any more injustice in the world. We don't want to tolerate untruths. We want truth only. We want visibility of all kinds. We want to take care of nature. We want to allow ourselves to find peace and allow our children to grow up with peace. We want to allow ourselves to let people believe in whatever they want to believe. We want to allow ourselves to have happiness inside and not impinge upon anybody else. And I think most people do want that. And that resurrecting of the Christ consciousness within is about allowing ourselves to bring the power inside of us to a focal point ahead. Even Jesus said, even when two or more of you are gathered in my name, and we have the power. We've always had the power. All it takes is willpower. If I put my finger up here, it takes willpower to move that finger up and down. Every one of you has willpower. I have willpower. Everyone has willpower. But in order to make changes, we have to gather together that willpower. And that great vibration of love is the essence of it all. And when we stop all work in every place, and we stop all wars, because all the, Army and the Navy and everybody walks out, when we stop all, business, and just everything changes because we said no more. Why? We have the power. Everything would change at that point. The people have had the power forever. They have the power of the Christ consciousness. And, back in World War I, they just got tired. They didn't want to do it anymore. They saw millions of their comrades and buddies and loved ones die. Now, the guys that they were in the trenches with, the U.S. guys, at that point, they didn't know why they were fighting. And at some point, I think a lot of us feel the same way. We don't want these wars at all. And it's time to say an end to them. All it takes is great love. Enough love to feel at peace enough to stand up and say no more. And resurrect the Christ within. We all have that power. We all have that great love inside. But we allow it to flourish like a great bouquet of flowers, which can bring an essence, a vibration, which will spread around the world. And during this time of Easter, it's no better time than to allow that essence, that beautiful aroma, to spread around the world. I love you.